right, guys, what is up, and welcome back to Torque Talks. Today we have with us for episode 9, I believe, Gaby Macias of Euphoria.
Yes.
So, Gaby, what brings you out to Colorado? Because you weren't actually supposed to be here, right?
It was not in my plans at all to come. But at work the whole week, I work in a martial arts studio, and this week we're taking off just for a summer vacation. So I had the days off, and I've already taken off so much work just from the tour alone. Like from Battle Fury, I didn't make it home until right before Euphoria. I mean, I had to pop in and out of my house a few times. I had a family emergency happen, but I basically went Battle Fury, Florida, Euphoria, Ohio, back home, and I started work. So I was traveling for the tricking tour, and I had to make a pit stop to Florida where my family's at. And then I made it home, and then I started life, like just assimilating back to my regular life for just 1 week or just a few days. And I was like, I need to go to Colorado. Like the tour is not too much life. The tour is not done yet. I have next week off. I mean, if I was at home, I wouldn't be doing anything. I was especially like making money, so I'm just same old broke girl, but I'm not missing out on any work,
That's awesome. And so you got to go to basically the entire tour up to now, right?
Yeah.
You've been to every single stop.
I've been stuck with these people.
That's, yeah.
For so long.
What a hindrance.
Yeah.
So how has everything been?
It's really cool. Like, just overall how the tour has been?
Just overall, experiencing it because, you're also one of the promoters, that helped put this on and make it happen. You threw the Euphoria event with some of the other people. And so how's experiencing it and going to each of the different promoters' events and, seeing what they're like and sort of how they operate as opposed to how you guys do?
It's so it's so cool because I got to see how, like, where everybody puts their input in tricking. So it's cool to see how Trick Dynamics does it versus Euphoria versus Neo versus Torque, because it's really cool seeing everybody has the same love for tricking, but everybody focuses on a different element that they want to promote. And it's cool seeing that and how it reflects in every gathering. So, and I'm just so sad I can't go to Loop Kicks because I would want that like insight also, especially like seeing how the tour evolved up until now also is kind of really cool.
Yeah, because this is the second year that we've done it. You guys weren't completely in on it last year, but you sort of found out about it as it was happening, and we're like, how can we be a part of it?
Yeah.
Let's jump in now.
I'm happy to be part of it this year, and I'm happy I was able to make so much of it so far.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I haven't been able to go to nearly as much. I made it to Neo, and then we had TSG here, and I'm going to make it out to Triassic for at least part of it. I have to get back and tend to some of the life things, but it's been amazing just what I've seen and just what I've been a part of. So I can only imagine, because that's 4 gatherings in 1 month.
Yeah.
It's every single weekend.
Every single weekend.
Yeah. And so you were traveling home between gatherings, or?
Yeah, so the original plan was we go to Connecticut for Battle Fury. Sorry, I keep hitting this mic. We go to Connecticut for Battle. So yeah, we go to Connecticut for Battle Fury, and then we got home that Tuesday after the gathering, and then everybody stayed. Right before the gathering, everybody stayed at Trisha's parents' house in Maryland. Since the gathering's in Maryland, and it just made it easier to commute. Like, the gathering was farther than any of us normally train, but it was...
Gotcha, but you guys always have it at the Acro.
This time we had it at Brendan's parents' gym.
Okay, so that's why it was so far away.
Yeah, and it was maybe 2 hours away from me personally, so I've never been to the gym, but it was just so well. Like, sometimes I forget that I'm part of Euphoria, because I'm like, man, this was so well put together. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I did this too.
And I helped.
But yeah, I did that. But like, just, I don't know, just this past Euphoria has been really... It was hard to plan because everybody had such a busy life, but after it finally came together, it was nice. But we right before Euphoria, we were in the DMV area for about a week, and we stayed at Trisha's parents' house for the first part of it, and then the second part of it, we stayed at Scarlett's parents' house. And then during that second half, I had to go to Florida. So as soon as I got back, I stayed for not even 24 hours, and then we started driving to Ohio. So it was just like a lot of like bouncing back home and dropping my face in here and there.
Right. You're like, hey, I'm real. Don't fire me. And then I'm leaving. Bye.
Yeah. My mom had the funniest reaction. She was like, I get home from Ohio Sunday night, and then my mom comes into my room. She's like, oh, I'm just now seeing your face, you know? And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I've been so busy. And then she was like, so where's your next stop? But she meant it as a rhetorical question, because she thought that the answer was going to be like, oh, no, I'm going to stay. I was like, I think I'm going to go to Colorado this weekend. And she's like, what? You just got back home. And I was like, yeah, I might stay for a week and then go to Utah right after. And she's like freaking out because like I'm the baby of the family, right? And I'm always traveling. And then I just evolved to traveling by myself. She's used to me like having like hella people in my car just to get from place to place. But when I told her I was driving back home from Ohio by myself, and that I drove to Connecticut by myself, it was like she was having a heart attack. So it was kind of funny to see her face when I was like, I think I'm going to go to Colorado.
That's funny. And how old are you now?
I'm going to be 25 next month.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Next month?
Yep.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank
I don't think
you.
I'll be able to see you for that.
Yeah, we're going to try to celebrate at Trickstrong.
Nice.
Because it's Neil's birthday and Scarlett's birthday that weekend. They both share birthday, and Renee does too.
Mm-hmm.
So which is really funny. And then my birthday's 2 weeks after. So Neil was like, we all got to celebrate everybody's birthday, the tour, summer.
That's awesome. A big summer tour birthday bash.
Yeah. That's what happened last Trickstrong, and there was also a wedding.
In there
too. Because they were celebrating Scarlett, Neil, and then Kang's birthday together, because Kang has the same birthday too.
That's
everybody, it's like it should be a tricking holiday.
All right, so back to tricking. How long have you been tricking? Like when did you start? What era?
It was
because it was a long time ago.
It was in 2005.
Oh,
she's got me beat. I didn't think there were many. I mean this in the most polite way possible. I didn't think there were many relevant trickers. There's no polite way to say that were still active and like before me.
Yeah, no, it's because back in my day, there was no YouTube, so it was just belaying. So it was like, if you don't have belaying, if you're not hip to it, or if you don't have a Club 540 account or anything, then it's like you don't know who, or if you don't go to NASCAR tournaments, then you don't know who's like tricking, you know?
So were you at Charlie Lee Nationals?
I went 2007.
Okay,
that was
but
the
not
big one that had like everybody. And I think
was that the like one that's talked about? Because there's
that
one,
was the legendary
that's the one
that I know of. Yeah,
because I've heard all kinds of people from the East Coast have told me stories about Charlie Lee Nationals, and I forget which year it was, but
CLN 07. Because that's the one where Sesh came.
Which one was the one where Mike showed up and everyone was like, oh, this kid wants to session with us. Yeah, I guess he's going to do a few things. And because I remember Stephen Rennie telling me the story, and he's like, this kid shows up as this tiny little kid. And he's like, oh, can I session with you guys? And like little high-pitched voice. And they're like, yeah, okay. He's going to do, a couple of hand combos and an aerial or a B kick, And then baby Mike showed up.
Yeah.
And they were like... Yo, none of us can even do what just happened.
Yeah.
Like we were working on that last week, and shit.
Yeah.
Where has he been hiding?
When I went to CLN, I was such like a noob, and I was like, all these people are the people I see on the internet. Like, we were so starstruck.
We still feel like that.
It was like, yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
But back then, like, I just felt like such a little girl that I was like, oh, this is my big first time seeing people, like, do things in public, like, in person. And then, like, I remember, like, when I saw everybody, I was like, I felt like I had to shake everybody's hand. It was so embarrassing. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of these trickers would remember me as like, they might be like, oh, that was you, you know, because I feel like so embarrassed. I went up to so many people saying, hi, my name is Gaby, you know, and like,
that's so
they were
funny.
probably thinking, what the fuck, like, who's this kid approaching me like after hours just to shake my hand? It was embarrassing, but
that's so funny. But at the same time, like, I have that same exact feeling, but years and years after that, in like 2010, I want to say it was at the end of 10 that I went. It might have been 11. I'm not positive. But that was the first Epic I went to. And then I remember we went off on a DC tour, and it was you and Javier that were leading it. And like you guys were, because it was literally, we like showed up and everyone was like, hey, we're about to leave in like 2 minutes to go on the DC tour. And Hunter and I just looked at each other and we were like, you want to do it? Yeah. What else are we going to do? We don't know anybody here. Let's go see DC. I haven't really been around DC without like a school trip or anything. This could be fun. So we went out, and I remember my initial thought was like, these are not the people that I would want to spend time with. Cause seriously, like, this was my first gathering. I had only been tricking for like a little while, and I still had like that high school mindset of like, you see people and you're like, okay, that person's really into anime. I'm not really into anime. I'm probably not going to hang out with that person. That person's a skateboarder. I like skateboard. I'm probably going to hang out with that person. Yeah. And so you just sort of associate like, okay, visually, this person looks like someone I would hang out with. Yeah. Yeah, none of these people. And then within like the first, not even 5 minutes, all of that was completely like faded away. And I was like, these are the coolest fucking people I've ever met in my entire life. How did I not know that cool people like existed in this form? And it like opened my eyes to like stop judging people so quickly. And like, I didn't even realize that I did it so much until that moment, until like looking back on it and being like, wow, I really like didn't even want to go at first. And then like I still hang out with some of those people and like still talk to some of those people. Yeah. And this is like not when, like, it would make more sense if it was the house that was 4 hours away, but we're across the country and you're here.
I remember when I first met you guys, we were like, oh, where are you from? And that's the funny thing, that's like an intro for tricking. Like, hi, I'm Gaby. Where are you from? Or, oh.
And we got interrupted.
So.
Okay. Well, I forget what we were talking about.
I was talking about when I first met you guys, how like in tricking, it's like everybody has to introduce themselves as like, "Hi, I'm Gaby. I'm from Where
are
DC,
you from?
Or I'm from Virginia," depending on how relevant people's geography is. Because if I say I'm from Virginia, they're gonna assume I'm from like maybe Roanoke, you know. But I remember when I first met you guys, when you were like, "Oh, I'm from Virginia," I was like, "Whoa, I'm from Virginia. Where are you from?" And we're like, "Roanoke, like Arlington. That's like really far, but." You guys are in the same state, but like, it's cool how we read.
But it was only like 4 hours, so we were up there all the time.
Yeah. And it's just crazy because I never knew that I never considered Roanoke a city, like, because it's just so south in Virginia that, and I guess I'm more of like a city girl compared to everybody like down there.
Right.
So it just feels like.
Well, if you exclude Nova, then Roanoke's actually the largest metropolitan city on the other side of Richmond.
Oh, wow.
Like there's some more, like I'm pretty sure Newport's bigger, and there's a few other ones over on the coast that are bigger, but from Richmond over, we're the largest excluding Nova. But
see, the things you learn.
Yeah, but it's still, if you put it and scale it on a map and compare it to a lot of places like Denver, for example, an eighth, maybe a little bit more than an eighth of the greater Denver area is all of Roanoke, including its like surrounding like counties, that Rudy and I would look at each other and be like, oh, we need to go there? Do we have to right now? Like, is there another option where we don't go that far? And now that's just like, oh, it's only 25 minutes? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there. Like, 45? All right, you're starting to push my boundaries, but I could still do 45, and like easily an hour and a half to 2 hours if we're like doing a hike or going mountains or like, and that's just to start. Like that, you know what I mean? Like once you get into the mountains, then you get off the roads and onto the roads. I'll call them roads. I'll drive them like it's a road. I've driven up a mountain before, literally. But yeah, it's crazy how small it is, but also in Virginia how large it is comparatively.
And then we were talking about how we met that epic, and now we're hanging out in Colorado. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy the things that tricking brings together, and like how many years I've known some of these people. Yeah, you know, like there's some people in my house that live in different countries that I've seriously known since 2011. Yeah, and like I've seen them year after year after year. But they live in different countries. Yeah. And it's just it's so awesome that tricking brings us together. And I think that as we continue, you know, as hosts of the tour, to just continue to provide that opportunity to make it easier for people to travel and, you know, hit more than one event if it's possible. And, you know, what's really cool that I didn't even like think of this happening really is people are doing only sections of the tour. Yeah. And they're like just popping in randomly, and it would have been nice to have organized it a bit better for them. Yeah. You know, so we'll definitely have to add those things into the docket for next year. But so far I've been getting, you know, really good feedback from everyone about how they felt about it and about the different events. You know, how have you felt about how everything is going?
I think it's the right energy. Like everybody that's on the tour so far is the right fit somehow to create a giant entity of the tour. Like all the guests, we're so happy. We're like, we picked the best guests. They work so well together. They're so funny. They're just good people, you know? And so
they cleaned my house.
Yeah, and they're
without
so,
being
like,
asked.
They're so
they just like started doing it
and everything. Yeah, and like usually when you have guests or something, you kind of like ask them like, oh, do you mind putting a promo video or something, or like almost like you almost feel like you're hassling them, which is right. Like it's just already you feel bad kind of asking. But like all the Garrison boys, like they just right away made videos and we're like, yep, we're going to Euphoria, and like every time that we asked them about like anything, they were right away. Oh yeah, it was so great. Like,
well, and when I was talking to Kyle, he was saying that, you know, we should have a bit more coverage of the tour, and something that we should do as the promoters is actually ask more. He was like, yo, if you guys just would have asked, like, yeah, you know, we would have been totally down. Like anything you wanted us to make, like if it was a project that involved some like effort, we would have done it. Like, yeah, especially like they're just so grateful to have the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's the best thing. All of them are so grateful for it, you know?
Yeah, we definitely picked a fantastic crew. I'm excited to see who comes up on the list for next year. Yeah, because I think it's almost entirely a different crew. Is there anyone from last year that's also tagging along this year?
Matthew was here last year.
Matt was here for how much of it though?
I think all of it.
You did the whole tour last year? Yeah, so I was like, I feel like we have at least one repeater. Which is fantastic.
I don't think any came for this year. I know that Kyle went to Trickstrong last year. And that's like it. Yeah, geez, we got new people. Like, it's like a whole new batch.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I think that's, you know, part of the goal is to continue exposing various trickers to the opportunities that, you know, that other people don't have. You know, not everyone can just drive a few hours and get to a gathering. Sometimes it takes a group of people coming together and saying, no, you've earned it. You should come and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Yeah. And, you know, I was talking to some of these guys and, you know, they're all so grateful and they're so humble. And, you know, you talk to them about like, like how they're so great at what they do, and they're so modest, and they're like just so hard on themselves and like just trying to push so much, and they do it not out of a selfish reason either, which is amazing to see. Like pretty much everyone on the tour has said in some way or another that the reason that they continue to push at the level that they do is to inspire or to push the creativity of tricking, or to just get new trickers tricking. And you know, that's exactly the energy that all of the brands that are involved with the tour are trying to promote. And you know, I'm so happy with everyone who's come together as far as brands just to make this happen. You know, because we've got eight different brands that are involved, that are all tricking brands. And we've put everything together, and it's, you know, honestly, I feel like this is almost like 5 or 6 years in the making, because we've been talking about doing things like this, and you know, like Rudy and I even almost did a mock version of it several years in a row where we just toured gatherings. And 1 year we got Kite to fly out. We stole him from his mom for like 2 months during the summer and just took him all around the country.
God bless that woman.
Yeah, shout out to Denise. She's amazing. Letting us steal your son, take him almost to Canada.
That's so great. I think one of my favorite things is being able to talk to all of these trickers and see, like, the guests or not, just anybody else that's like here right now that tricks. It's really interesting for me to hear their perspective on like how they view tricks, how they see tricks, like how their training reflects their tricks and everything. Just like, I don't know, I love getting into people's minds and just seeing how they think and why they trick the way they do.
Definitely.
And I feel like this tour so far has given me that, so I feel so like ooh, like I could think, you know.
Right.
Like, I want to think now and put this in my tricks, you know.
Yeah. All right, so let me ask you a couple of questions. So I'm gonna ask one just because I want to see what your answer is, and then the rest of them are going to be a little bit more focused on the tour aspect of things. Because I'd love to just talk about this for people, you know, not having another promoter here.
Yeah.
And you know, it's because you saw the behind the scenes and like what happened there. So the first question is, if every tricker had the exact same skill level across the board, and you know that means like you could make it whatever you want. You could stop at your current level, or you could say like, oh, we're all as good as Ilya. What then would set you apart from other trickers?
That's a good question. I think that something that I bring is an energy. You know, I feel like my thing, at least I feel like at home I try to like inspire everybody and just kind of get them pumped to like go to different gatherings and to trick where they feel like they like, just, you know, I don't know, like I just want everybody to trick at their where they feel that they're the most happy. And I feel like I don't know, that's just something that I push, and I feel like that's something that I push with Euphoria as well. And it's just, I just want growth, you know. I just want everybody to grow. I want to grow myself. I want to see all the brands grow. I think that's probably, I'm too excited. I want to see where people could end up, you know. If they really just push themselves and do everything that they want. So
you just focus on everyone's potential, and you just like see that, and you're just like how can we empower that?
Everybody can do everything they really truly want to if they work for it, and if they
high five to that, because that's
how I feel.
Straight up how, and that's how I feel too.
Yay!
That's perfect. That was a great answer. So now with the tour, first let's back up before we get into the tour. Let's talk about Euphoria for a second.
Sure.
So when did Euphoria start? How did it start? Who's involved? Just give me your elevator and
well, Euphoria is back in like, or I guess slight backstory to Euphoria. In the DMV, there wasn't a lot of girl trickers around. And there was a time where it was just Trisha and myself. and we were really good friends at sessions, but we never really spoke much outside of the gym or anything. And then one day we just started talking on Facebook, and then we just started talking about our views and our perspectives and like what our goals are and like how we want to grow in tricking and what we want to see in tricking. And then we just realized like, whoa, we have the same views. And back then there wasn't, like I said, there wasn't a lot of girls, so it was very intimidating for a lot of women to come into the sport. And Trish and I felt the same way, that like, no, we can go to the session, we can go on the floor, kill the cypher, whatever, and or at least where we felt like we did well, and then just enjoy gathering fully, talk to people, and just get the full gathering experience. And there not a lot of we noticed that there was a trend there. Not a lot of women felt the same way. Like a lot of people were intimidated, and we realized like, oh, we grew up with a lot of guys. Maybe that's why it's easier for us to be as comfortable with our guy tricker friends and stuff. And then we realized like, whoa, there's a whole different mindset to tricking two women. And we realized like, man, maybe they just don't see it the way that we do. So then we were talking about like a project. At first it was just kind of like, let's do this, let's see if we can like maintain a blog or something like that, just to get more girls involved. And then we just kind of wanted to see growth in the girl community. And so we created Euphoria, and then we didn't actually launch it until 2011. So this was maybe 2 years it was 2 years in the making before we actually revealed it. And then we started up with a website, and then we had a YouTube channel where we just posted just created playlists for just all girls, just because you relate to the people that are most like you. So, in like as a female, if I see like a lot of guys killing it and stuff, I get excited and I get inspired and stuff. But if I see a girl doing it, I'm like, whoa, that's dope, because it's just more physically
right.
We're similar, you know. So
well, and guy trickers, they like to watch guys that are similar in build to them a lot of the time, because they can watch the mechanics and go, oh, that would totally work for me that way. Like, it doesn't work for this guy because he's way too tall, and it doesn't work for that guy because he's way too stocky. But if, like, I'm the exact same as that guy, I could totally, train like him. And guys and girls do not have similar body structures, so that, I'm sure that helps a lot.
Yeah, and so when Trish and I first wanted to do Euphoria, we were like, we want to just cater to women, just target girl trickers, get them inspired, get them to grow out of their comfort zone and everything. And then like maybe after we started Euphoria, at first it was just Trisha, myself, and Chrissy Conception, like super old school. And just because she's seen the community grow, and she's been there, so we wanted her to be a part of it and just kind of give her input every once in a while. It's mainly Trish and I that maintain it and everything, but we have a lot of other good people that are in there that do so much work that make it what it is. Right after we launched Euphoria, we noticed that guy trickers also feel the same way. Like, just like you said, there's tall trickers, short trickers, stocky trickers, lanky trickers. So we wanted to make it where everybody feels like anybody could do it. And so after a while of doing that, then we realized like, no, let's still cater to women. Let's do all that. So we want we want to spread the feeling of Euphoria with tricking, but we also want the girl community to feel empowered. And just, that's whenever people ask me about Euphoria, I'm like, it's just a group of feminists, just to play around. But in reality, we're just women that are proud to, I feel like it's more of a badassery women type of feel in Euphoria than anything else, just because it's an extreme sport.
It's anything you can do, I can do.
Exactly. And I feel like I've always grown up with that mentality. I know Trisha has too, which is why we started Euphoria. But now we have Scarlett, Carla, and Brendan Morrison involved in Euphoria as well. So there's 6 of us total. And we brought them in because they're just so passionate. And just the passion is what creates what makes a project move. And so Euphoria became such a great thing because of every single person that's part of it. But yeah, Euphoria.
That was great. Yeah, I love that you guys are focusing on building up that part of the community, because it definitely gets neglected.
Yeah.
And I remember back when we started, there was always a complaint of we never had girl clothing because we were we're just a tricking brand, and 98% of trickers were guys. And so when you're trying to, you know, think about what product you should buy and what's actually going to move to where you can buy more product and continue, you know, you can't really just cater to that smallest niche, which I always hated. We never had enough money. We did one girl shirt like 2 years in.
I have it
because and but then the craziest thing happened. A ton of girls decided to buy the guy version because they were like, "Oh, we don't need a girl shirt. We're just trickers.
Yes,
just give us clothes,
my girls."
And and we were just like, "Okay, we just were trying to
Yeah. It's kind of cool seeing it from this side because it's the girl community has grown so much.
It's so
over
much
the
bigger,
year.
and I love seeing it.
It's so great. Trisha had the great idea to do a thing called Ladies of the Week.
Yeah, I've been. So that's great.
Yeah, we
we
post weekly, and so anytime we're on the Euphoria Instagram, and we just we follow as many girls as possible. And we just scroll. It's who doesn't scroll through Facebook, you know? And then if you're scrolling through Facebook, you see tricking videos. It's nice, you know?
Yeah.
So we follow mainly just girl trickers on our Euphoria Instagram, so that when we're scrolling, we're like, this will be perfect for Ladies of the Week. This needs to be how is this person not known yet? We need to expose them. So with being a girl, you do get a lot of attention, and so we're trying to use our powers for good to to spread
That's great. I
the
love
growth
that.
of women.
I love that, and I love seeing the female part of our community grow, you know, because every time a new girl comes in and they see several other girls doing it, it's like, oh, okay, this is normal. I'm just going to be here.
Exactly.
Whereas not just a few years ago, I think you were one of 3 or 4 girl trickers that I had met ever.
Yeah, and it's probably just out of 4 people in the DMV.
Yeah. And you know, I think there's one from Florida, and then a while later I met oh god, name is escaping me. And it's gone. But I met her. Can remember her face. Can't remember her name. Yeah. But that's also a tricker thing. I remember who you are.
You meet so many people in one weekend. I'm going to need you to tell me
again what they call you.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you've seen tricking grow over the last few years, and, you know, we've started the tour, and we've actually, you know, gotten it to a point where it's real. It's happening. We're in the middle of it. You know, it's sort of surreal to every year. It's we're planning, and then it sort of comes, and everyone's just like, all right, hot potato, let's go.
Yeah, and we're at the halfway point, pretty much.
Yeah, we've almost made it through the bulk.
Yeah, there's 3 more gatherings left. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much. It's so much to take in and just think about that it's actually happening. But, you know, are there any things that, you know, you wish that we would have done better, or you think that we just really nailed, other than we talked about how great the guests are and how fantastic of a choice, you know, and that the guest selection process was really good too, because it was a very open forum and a very open discussion across every brand.
Yeah.
And everyone sort of got their input, and I feel like no one got closed out. There wasn't anyone who was this person needs to come, that person didn't actually end up coming.
Yeah.
So that was good. It's, you know, it's been good working with everyone.
I think I was a little nervous at the beginning of the tour, because I feel like we kind of started off strong with how we were with the planning process and making sure everything gets covered and stuff. And then there was a couple of maybe weeks or maybe even a month where it was nobody would say anything, and there was Battle Fury.
Yeah, it went completely dark. It was pretty much we had done all the hard stuff. We had picked the guests. We had set our dates. We had organized our own gatherings. We had promoted somewhat. Mm-hmm. We definitely didn't do nearly enough promotion.
Yeah.
But we had done all of that, and we were like, okay, flights are bought. Let's just go. let's just we'll run with this, and everyone just sort of had life hit all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I remember there would be like one post, and then it would take like almost 2 days to get like a few responses, and it sort of felt like an uphill battle near the end. But it's been great that everyone actually came through so far on everything that they were supposed to, and we've all put on a good hosting situation for these guests.
And something that you had mentioned was that everybody that's doing the tour this year is like pretty much experienced in running gatherings, so it went by so smooth so far. And I think it's because everybody's kind of like on like that veteran status of, okay, we just need the essentials, this for our gathering. And then everybody like halfway, or whoever's gathering was right after the other, there was some slight communication between like, okay, we're going to drop them off this day, or we're going to do this. But
how are we going to get them from this point to this point?
And I think because everybody's had so much experience with running gatherings, and everybody's just been around tricking for so long, attended as many gatherings as they could to know what a gathering is, what it feels like, and to be the guest on that side, it was just easy to just kind of trade off. And like, there was a lot of like unspoken decisions made.
Yeah,
and
there was definitely really a lot of unspoken decisions. And like there's definitely been a few surprises, a few tag-alongs that we weren't expecting from day one, and like sort of like 2 days before we like find out, oh, this person's coming on the tour. Oh, this person wants to like go on the tour from here to here to here to here, and like, oh, this person's flying in from out of country and he's also going on the tour. And it's like I've never thought like, oh, that's bad, like we don't have enough. It's always just like, okay, cool, what do I need to do to like make it continue to happen? Because it's just so exciting that people want to be a part of it. And I just want to see it continue to grow. This was something that we had talked about years ago before we even started the first one, was how can we start engaging some of the smaller communities and building them up so that they can do more, and they can grow faster. And something that's helped us and the people that we've interacted with is just going to gatherings and talking to more trickers, and getting different perspectives. And so there's not a lot of people who can afford to go all these different places, but if we can afford to put it on and take people to those places, we can sort of flip that situation around. And I can only imagine what that would do for tricking if could you imagine, Rudy, if back when you were training and it was just like 4 or 5 people in your community and then like a busload of like so from Neo to here we had, I believe, 13 or 14 people. Imagine that showing up at your 4 to 5 person community session and then teaching seminars because they've been doing it for 10 years.
That doesn't happen in 2006. That's not a real thing.
But put yourself in today's perspective, but with that mindset of, oh, there's only 5 trickers and like we're not very good. We're just sort of.
If I saw like, everybody just walks out and like comes into the gym and just.
I would go absolutely crazy. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be way too excited.
Yeah, so I would love to bring that to some people out there. So if you're watching this Torque Talk right now and you want the tour to make a pit stop,
do it.
Contact us. Let us know, and seriously, we'll try and make it happen, because we're trying to drive the whole thing, and as few flights as possible, because that really gives you a completely different experience of the people who are on the tour, and they get to see the U.S. in a different way. And I remember the first time that Rudy and I traveled across the country back in, I think it was 2012. And we just started seeing stuff, and it was me and him, and we didn't really have like a road map of like, we need to be at this spot at this time exactly. It was literally like, hey, let's get in the car. And like we planned this trip to Vegas like 2 weeks before we left, and we were leaving for like 2.5 weeks total. So it was really shotgun, and I'm so glad I did it because it transformed my life. But just seeing all of the different features that the U.S. has to offer, because we went all the way out through Colorado. It was my first time in Colorado. It was beautiful. I fell in love with just the nature and everything out here, and the lack of humidity. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how amazing it was.
Yeah.
But so from there, we went through like the desert and to Vegas and to, Arizona. And then after that, we went down to Texas and to a few other places. And then Charlie Grenhart actually flew down to the Texas gathering. And this was in 2012. And I think we had known each other maybe 5.5 months. And I think he had come to one gathering that we threw. It was our very first gathering before this happened. But he literally flew there, hung out for the gathering, and then him and I drove 27 hours back from Houston, Texas, all the way directly to Virginia. And I'm actually a little sad because he did such a great job at driving. I slept through like 4 states that I wanted to see what they look like.
No.
And I still have no idea what Louisiana looks like.
You gotta go now.
Like I remember waking up at one point and looking out and being like, where's everything? This is marsh, and we're in the middle, and like as far forward as you could see, it was bridge, and as far behind you as you could see, it was bridge.
Oh, wow.
And as far in the distance in either direction as you could see, it was just like, you're not allowed to be there unless you have an airboat.
Wow.
That was all I remember about Louisiana.
And
but
that's the beautiful thing about tricking, though, is that I feel like a lot of people go through that. Just that feeling of like you see the world, you know, because as soon as you see the world, your mind changes, everything transforms, and I think that with tricking, because there's so many gatherings that happen all around the world, it's so easy to go to that, and then it's easy for it's an excuse for you to vacation and see different parts of the world. Like, I live in the U.S., but I've never been to Colorado before this, and I've never been to Utah. So it's just, I never would have any business in a lot of the country or a lot of the cities I've been to,
right,
if it wasn't for tricking. And just in general, I feel like if it wasn't for tricking, if I'm like, oh, I think I want to go to this place to visit, it's most likely not going to happen. But like, because there's a tricking community there and I want to go to a certain place, it's like, I'm going to go. Like, why not?
It's just going to happen.
It can happen. Anything's possible, so I'm excited. I mean, I've seen Colorado now. I've never been. It's always been one of my places that I've always wanted to visit.
Yeah.
So just how tricking creates an opportunity for people to travel the world and open their minds and just see new things, meet new people, experiencing new culture and stuff. I think that's one of the best things that tricking has to offer.
Definitely. I definitely agree. And I think that's a perfect note to sort of wrap up on is, go out and go to the gatherings that you want to go to. And, seriously, I'm not even joking about that comment earlier. If you have a small community, even if it's literally like 2 or 3 people, reach out to us. And if it's along our route, then we will definitely make it happen. Yeah,
because geographically, we can hit up so many places.
Yeah, we picked up trickers in Des Moines, Iowa. We picked up, what's his name? Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
We picked him up, and literally he was just like, hey, I just need to ride to Neo. I've got a bus back. Can someone help us out? And he was like, oh, I heard Colorado's going to drive. Maybe on the way out, they have room, and we did.
That's awesome.
So we grabbed him, and literally never met this kid before in our life. None of us. And he had never... He maybe knows about us because, Kerwood's active on the forums and whatnot, but like, I don't think he was like had any personal relationships. And he was just like, hey, you guys are trickers. I also want to do the tricker thing that you guys are doing. Can you help? And we were like, yeah, for sure, man.
We had a conversation at some time within the last few days about how trickers are... Like, if you really think about the situation, it's really sketchy. Because it's
God, yeah.
Because when we have out-of-town guests come over, it's like, hey, Ma, can these, like, 10 people, 10 guys, can they all come stay with me in our living room? And then, like, it's kind of like, wait, what? Like, how did you meet? The internet. Where are they from? All over the world.
Yeah, we've always said, like, since the beginning, Rudy and I, that tricking is that one thing that teaches you to do everything that you were told told not to do with the internet. It's like, hey, you're gonna meet some person and you don't know them. You're not even gonna try to get to know them before. You're just gonna say, hey, can I crash on your couch? I need to be here for this thing. And they're usually like, yeah. And then literally people you've never met come pick you up from the airport and you get in their car and you're just like, yep, hopefully I don't die here.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing is, I don't know about you guys, but I've never once felt like I was in an uncomfortable situation with other trickers. Like there are certain, people who they've done things and I'm like, well, I don't really respect that as a person, like that's not the best way to conduct yourself. But like I've never been like, this person might like hurt me or like might like try to rob me or like any, I've always just felt comfortable, and that's that's really crazy considering how many different types of people we have a part of tricking. I think it says something about what tricking brings to people's lives.
Because it's the love for the sport that brings people together. And it's awesome. I can't. I love this. I love my life.
Right?
I love being here.
Yeah. And we could continue to talk about these things for forever. So hopefully we'll be able to have Gaby back on, maybe with some of the other Euphoria girls sometime in the future. But if anyone wanted to follow Euphoria or, get in touch with you guys, how would they go about doing that? And then also your personal, how would they find Gaby?
Cool. Well, Facebook, Euphoria Tricking. Instagram, it's at Euphoria Tricking, no space or anything. And then I have Facebook and Instagram, it's Gaby Macias, GabyMacias.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And as always, guys, go check us out on TorqueTricking.com. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like and give us a subscribe. You can also check out some of our other episodes. We have been tearing through them tonight. You might not see all of them all at once, but I'm excited. We've got a lot of content, so go check them out.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
That was fun.
It was so fun that I couldn't stop us at 30 minutes.